Tower Hamlets is located in East London and covers much of the traditional East End.
All kinds of people live in Tower Hamlets.
Tower Hamlets has one of the most diverse populations in the country, home to many communities.
People that have come here to build a life are from all kinds of places, including Bangladesh, India,
China,
Italy,
Australia,
Poland, Germany, Spain,
Turkey, Somalia, and Morocco. Some people will travel to Tower Hamlets in trains and buses to work. We are proud that people of all faiths in Tower Hamlets get along so well. We're glad to have such good neighbours.
The communities in Tower Hamlets like to do all kinds of things together, such as go to the park, do sports,
and walk to keep healthy.
They eat and drink together. Brick Lane's restaurants, neighbouring street market and shops provide the largest range of Bengali cuisine in Europe.
In Tower Hamlets you can get any type of food from all over the world. The area has been building up over the years and we are pleased we can keep our history next to lots of new buildings. People young and old get along well and good friendships are formed.
The people of Tower Hamlets
live side by side
and have lots of fun together.
This is our Tower Hamlet story. It might also be yours too.
Here is the highway.
It's a very busy and important road that takes very busy and important people into London.
Over the years, this road has become busier and busier.
Do you know who else is busy and important?
So what's the problem?
1 in 10 Londoners under 18 years of age has asthma.
Road transport causes almost half of London's air pollution.
Children are most vulnerable to air pollution, but we are all affected. London's air is some of the dirtiest in Europe.
The vehicles that use it produce harmful fumes.
There are lots of nasty things in these fumes, such as carbon monoxide and particulate matter.
These are big words for horrible, nasty things floating around in our atmosphere.
Our amazing school is right next to the highway.
The nasty fumes travel from the highway all the way to our school.
To our playground.
This can make us feel unwell. If we are unwell, it is difficult to learn new things.
So what can we do about this?
I know, we can plant trees around our school to add lots of fresh air and block the fumes and noise pollution.
I have another idea. We can ask people to avoid using cars if they can.
How would the people get to work?
They could walk, they could ride a scooter, they could take the bus or train, or they could use a hoverboard.
There are lots of ways to prevent pollution if we just get creative and think about it, so please.
Help protect our school from pollution.
Spread the message, not pollution.
We can make a difference.
Where would you find this?
It's in our front playground.
Many years ago, our school was up Westbury Road. School opened in 1972. 6 classrooms were added in 2014.
No. There were 8 classrooms added.
Christchurch is a community of lots of different people, lots of different ages, people from different countries. We have a service once a year where we celebrate all the places people come from, and we ended up with 27 languages. The church is important because it's at the heart of the community. This church was actually built with the houses and the pubs and everything else all in one go. It was built in the 1850s. As well as being the vicar here, I'm really the chaplain at St Luke's School and also chair of the governors.
Hello, I've worked at this school for more than 30 years. I think St Luke's, as it's grown bigger and it's got more children in, it's got friendly, the staff get on with everyone. So it's quite a nice family school. The church comes in, people, neighbours and friends come in. We have events here, we have fairs here. Everyone's sort of welcoming to come and have a look around the school.
Moo! Moo! Make a move to Mud Shoot!
The reason why Mud Shoot is such a good place for the community is because it lets children learn about the foods that they eat, come from cows and chickens here at the farm. Quite a lot of our animals are rare breeds.
But we all found it very, very educational.
I enjoy meeting people and every day is not the same, it's always different, putting smiles on people's faces.
Cafe Forever is basically an internet cafe, coffee shop. It's all sorts of things. We make food that rich people love to eat, but people who don't have a lot of money can still afford. We serve halal food, so Muslim people can eat here. We try to reach everybody, and that's what I think is unique about the cafe, and that's why I'm so passionate about it.
We've heard that Brick Lane has a fascinating history. Let's go back in time and find out more.
Welcome to Brick Lane in 1685. Isn't it interesting to see what it was like then?
In 1685, many French Huguenots who were Christians came to East London.
They were expert silk weavers, and many people set up factories to make silk fabric.
Let's go inside to find out more.
Hello, what are you doing?
I'm using a loom to turn silk thread into fabric. In 1743, the Huguenots built a church at 59 Brick Lane.
It's huge!
In 1881, many European and Russian Jews came to East London.
Many people set up tailoring shops and made clothes.
Let's go inside and take a look.
I'm making some trousers.
Here are your trousers. That would be 2 shillings, please.
Thank you.
Other people opened bakeries.
Please, can I have 6 bagels and a loaf of bread?
Here you are. Did you know that the church became a Jewish synagogue in 1898?
at all these shops in Brick Lane.
The tailors.
Bagels!
But something exciting happened again.
Around the late 1960s,
Many Bangladeshis came to settle in the East End.
there were many great cooks who opened up restaurants in Brick Lane.
The food was delicious and different.
Many Bangladeshis were also amazing at sewing.
But some people weren't very friendly to the Bangladeshis.
Then people started being kind and accepted them.
Oh wow, look at that!
It's 59 Brick Lane.
This is such a special building. First there was a chapel.
Then a synagogue.
And in 1976 it became a mosque, and it still is.
That's amazing, right?
3 communities, 3 religions, 1 building.
I love the diversity in Brick Lane.
Let's go in the present again.
Back to 2019.
Let's have a look at the Brick Lane now.
Wow, just look at it.
Aladdin restaurant.
The food here is so delicious.
Yes, it is. Yum.
Taj stores.
Thank you for the change.
Vintage shops.
Brick Lane now is full of history and has examples of places belonging to the different communities. Thank you to the 3 communities who contributed so much to Brick Lane.
Brick Lane is open to everyone.
I am speaking to you from the cabinet room at 10 Downing Street. I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
London, gripped by fear, changed overnight. The sounds of ammunition punctured the days. Barrage balloons soared above, filling our skies. Wardens, soldiers, and panicked civilians lined our streets. Anderson shelters were hastily built. Some of us managed to escape to the tranquility of the countryside. But then days, weeks, months passed. Normality kind of returned. It could have been 75 years from now. Buses and trams filled the streets. The market bustled with young and old alike. We went to the library, we swam. Buildings stood proudly. The school was open and laughter prevailed. It was all daisy chain, schoolyard games, and a list of things we said we'd do tomorrow. I still remember playing that Sunday and thinking just how hypnotic and soothing the sky looked.
I hated the darkness. I hated the shelter. It was cold and damp, and there were spiders. I hate spiders. I hated the ground shaking. I hated my brother's tears. Closing my eyes was easier. I could see everything as a movie. I'd see bombs missing their targets, daredevil pilots fighting off the Luftwaffe, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, defiant in shelters, some singing to lift their spirits. There was no way we could lose, valiant and heroic to the end. How could Hitler win? The war was going to be ours. Inevitably, I'd open my eyes and darkness would be cast once more.
I'll never forget what I saw when I left the shelter. Fire hoses writhing like serpents. Anderson shelters crushed under rubble. Streets looked like war zones. Roads, houses, buildings decimated. Apocalyptic skies up and down the Thames. Heart-wrenching loss. Pain etched on faces barely able to comprehend. Quiet heroism and plucky resilience. And more than ever, bravery, courage, and lion-heartedness.
Came over. At times there wasn't a warning at all. I can remember as a little girl looking out and seeing one of them go over, and as they went over you could see the flames coming out the back of it. It was called the buzzbomb. Doodlebug bomb. The doodlebug it was called. And then all of a sudden it would stop and it would drop anywhere. So when it stopped you knew that you had to get on the floor or put an undercover, because you never knew what was going to happen. It was just one of them things that wasn't the only one. You used to have other ones that used to come over. We didn't know it was coming. You knew it would stop and it would drop just where it stopped. So anyway, mostly round here because it was dock area. We had the worst, most of it down this way with the dock area.
And we were taught to go, if we went out, we were taught to go And if we heard a siren, we had to go to the first place and stay there till it was over, because you wouldn't have had time to get back to your own place. And we used to go over parks. Wasn't much of a park, but we used to go over place, so they always had somewhere nearby the parks for the children to go into, so they would be safe, and thank God we were, really.
According to the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, all children have the right to be healthy and a right to a clean environment so that they can stay healthy.
Unfortunately, UNICEF states that most children are currently breathing dangerously high levels of air pollution every day.
Air pollution is particularly bad in areas like Tower Hamlets, and shockingly, children here have up to 10% less lung capacity than children in more rural areas.
More than 50% of pollution that damages health comes from cars.
Tower Hamlets Council knows that one of the biggest problems is idling.
Idling happens when you are stationary but you leave your engine running. Toxic air can harm children's lungs and damage their brains.
It can lead to long-term health problems like asthma. It can even stunt their growth. For this reason, Tower Hamlets Council is fining drivers who leave their engines running when they are parked. This new policy is part of the council's campaign, #BreatheClean, which hopes to reduce air pollution, particularly focus on drivers who idle outside of schools.
Can you carpool? Can you walk your children to school? If you must drive, can you switch off your engine?
Year 3 children at Bangabandu Primary School are asking all car drivers to think about their actions. Suffrage means the right to vote in political elections. In the 19th and the 20th centuries, men were allowed to vote, but women weren't.
The suffragettes campaigned for women to have rights. Emily Pankhurst was one of the most famous suffragettes. She thought only rich women could change things, but her daughter Sylvia disagreed and thought poorer women could help fight to vote. In 1912, Sylvia Pankhurst came to vote. She fought so that all rich and poor women could vote. She opened her first headquarters for suffragettes on Bow Road. Then they moved to Roman Road in 1912. I decided to take the risk of opening a permanent East End headquarters in Bow. In 1914, her sister Christabel asked Sylvia to separate from her organisation of suffragettes, and Sylvia's group became the East London Federation of Suffragettes.
Elf was led by Sylvia Pankhurst and wanted to improve working people's lives.
They thought that if women could vote, everyone's life would be better.
They marched through East London.
Held huge public meetings and organised benefit concerts and parties.
They also helped people with a health clinic, canteens to serve food, and nursery school. They recruited an army of supporters to protect them when the police were violent.
On May 25th, 1913 was Women's May Day. The women walked around Victoria Park with signs. The processions were along Old Ford Road, but they suffered injuries from the police.
This is our school, Mana Primary School, located at the infamous E3CLL. Our school is a happy, friendly and safe place for us all. Unfortunately, this is not always the case.
What? That's news to me.
I feel pretty safe at our school.
Yeah, and we have lots of fun at Mana.
That's true, but sadly there is something keeping us from being safe and healthy. What? What does that mean? Well, Article 24 of the UN Convention of Rights for Children states that every child has a right to live, learn and play in a clean and safe environment. What? I never heard of that. Can you please explain that to me? That means that all children have a right to be protected from anything that may harm them or their health. Well, I think Mana does a great job of that. Yes, but what happens when the air we breathe is toxic? Toxic? Yes, toxic. Sadly, there is something called air pollution that is affecting the health of children. Air pollution is harmful gases, smoke or chemicals in the air. What causes it? Well, for us, the main cause is transportation and building work. Alison from a charity called Sustrans came to our school to teach us more about what causes the air pollution around Mana. She showed us a map that highlighted where the pollution hotspots are around our community. Not surprisingly, the traffic from the A12 next to us is a big contributor, as well as the traffic on our busy main road in front of our school. Building works around our school release toxic particles into the air. And how does this affect us? This can be damaging to our heart, lungs and brains.
We miss out on school because of illnesses like asthma.
Oh no, does that mean we have to move schools? Of course not, because Mana is on the case.
Phew, I was beginning to feel a bit wheezy.
So what is Mana doing about it?
Well, currently Mana has a hub installed which is measuring pollution levels every hour.
During science school, we were involved in the citizen science project with the Greater London Authority, in which we helped measure air pollution.
We became pollution explorers with the help of an organisation called Umbrellium. We went on walks wearing custom-made wearable technology to record our perception of air quality.
We made pledges to help improve the air quality. For 3 weeks, we tracked our commitment to our pledges.
Some of us walked, cycled or scooted. Others used less electricity or grew plants.
Another thing we have been doing is working with Sustran bikes. Children have been learning how to ride bikes safely so they can cycle to school. This project was launched with a Be Bright Bike It Day. Children made the scooters, bikes and themselves bright for a day. We also held a competition called the Big Pedal that got the whole school involved in walking, biking or scooting to Mana. Wow, that sounds like a great start, but there must be even more we can do.
I'm glad you asked. With the help of Miss Doherty and a few others, Mana has been very lucky to receive grants for a greener Mana.
With these grants, we will continue to raise awareness of how to combat air pollution. Sustrans will provide updates, training and assemblies to help us understand the importance of not using cars. In addition, our school is using the money to make our school entrance greener and to green screen our school.
Green screen, what is that?
Green screen is when you grow green plants or ivy around the perimeter of a space to protect it against pollution. We will plant evergreen climbing plants on existing fences and buildings to reduce the air pollution by 40 to 60%.
We plan on creating a green gateway at the main entrance so that we can walk through a tunnel of evergreen plants.
We will also plant trees and hedgerows along Diva Street to help filter out pollutants.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
In addition, we plan on adding to our garden, making it the perfect place for outside learning. We will even turn the shady corner of the garden into a forest school. We also plan to purchase air filters for those classrooms most affected by pollution.
Is anything impossible for Mana? No, nothing's impossible for Mana when our rights are being respected.
Mana can continue to be a happy, safe and friendly school where we can learn and play.
Tower Bridge raises 1,000 times each year. "40,000 motorists, cyclists and pedestrians cross the bridge every day. It took 8 years to build between 1886 and 1894.
It took 432 workers to build it.
$31 million bricks were used in its construction. Whitechapel takes its name from a 13th century stone chapel. Now it's a thriving marketplace. There are so many fruit and food stores. You can buy anything you wish for. People are making money all the time.
Together.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's find out what people think.
It's got a good variety of products here, quite large, and it's a friendly place to visit. It's nice. I enjoy it.
What's your favourite thing about Whitechapel Market?
The food is here, restaurants, and the market, jewellery, the sweets, everything. But it's nice. It's got a nice mix of clothes as well. It's a good market.
It's also opposite the Royal London Hospital. This is our Tower Hamlet. This is how it feels in Tower Hamlet. We hope you love it as much as we do.